Welcome. Before I get started, if you didn't check the announcements, this is the last day, okay? And I know you're like, oh, please don't promote Apex. I promise you, dude, Apex will probably not do this 90% off sale for another 2 or 3 months. So that's all I'm going to say. I'm not going to be like, oh, go buy an account, because I'm not going to tell you what to do. But just know it's the last day. Do what you want. Yeah. All right. So for this class, I want to kind of go over a little bit about like break even, like when we start the break even, stop loss, and like risk stuff. So I want to start off with the risk. When I take an iFVG, so if you come from the 2022 model, a lot of people they're risking. What do you guys risk? I'm curious. What do you guys risk? What percentage in your account? Let's hear this. Yes, you can PB. Okay, 0.5 to 1. That's most of what I was expecting. Okay, most of what I was expecting. 0.5 to 0.1, which I would agree with. I traded with 0.1. All right. So let's take 1% for example. Okay, let's take 1% for example. So let's say you're going into trading an iFVG or whatever with one, and this only applies to the iFVGs. Why would this not apply to like the 2022 model? I'm gonna tell you why. It's because the 2022 model always does a set stop. So the 2022 model stops always below the low. All right. So that's why it doesn't really apply to 2022. But why does it apply to iFVGs? Because an iFVG is a closed below candle. Like if I'm taking this, for example, I don't know why this is white. Like the stop loss is literally like a manual stop. It's a closed below. And you have to be willing to accept that risk. So the first thing is, like, when I take any setup that has a manual stop, like, oh, if we break this, I'm going to get out, but I don't know where the candle close is going to be. I always do 75% of what I typically risk with the 2022 model, or what I'm comfortable with. Does that make sense? So I do, instead of like 1%, I do 75. Instead of 0.5, I do 0.375, right? Or yeah, I think that's right. Does that make sense? So if you guys didn't know, all right, there's actually a little trading view tool and you can use. So let's say I'm targeting this high, and log in the paper. Let's say I'm targeting this high, and I want to do a limit order, and I want to risk 1%. Okay, sorry, I have no idea why this is like this. I don't use these accounts very much. Reset account. Okay, so let's say I want to, no, I don't. Started from the bottom, trader. All right, so listen. You guys listening? Type 1 if you're listening. Okay, just making sure. Just making sure. All right, now let's say you want to risk 75%. So what I do is, on a 2022 model, I'm risking 1%. That's a set amount, okay? That's a set amount. I'm risking 1%, whatever 1% is. So that would be 2 contracts. So I do that. And I know that no matter what the candle close looks like, my stop is going below here. Does that make sense? Okay. But as you know, my stop loss is different. Mine's a close below. Now, what's the problem with that? It can come down way deep. Yep. It could close anywhere. Yes, exactly. I don't know exactly where it's going to close. And I'm hoping that I'm right, so it doesn't even get close. So it's not a fixed stop. So what does the not being a fixed stop mean? Well, if I would risk 1% here, and I'm taking a manual stop, I'm like, okay, this is not a risk. This is not a full stop. So I'm going to do 0.75% instead. So I'm going to do 0.75, and I'm going to do that, which would still be 2 contracts. Okay, obviously this is not much, but let me go to MNQ8 or MNQ1. So let's go to MNQ1, all right? So we want to take the play here. We want to do a stop as a close below, and we want to do 0.75 risk. So that allows us to take 30 contracts here. Now, I always do this just in case, and I do 0.75 risk because I don't know exactly where the candle closes. It could close anywhere. So if it closes here, it's actually less, it's better, but if it closes here, it's worse. So if we do somehow just get a nasty, nasty candle and it closes down here, will I be losing more than the typical 1% most of the time? No, because I'm risking 0.75% as a play as a whole. So even if it is a bad close, it's still not going to be a bad loss. Now, does that make sense? So it's just what you're comfortable with losing. And I risk 0.5. That's just me. Okay, my funded accounts. So that's kind of that. And another thing I want to talk about. So that's kind of like the risk management part. Risk 75% of what I actually risk for the 2022 model when I do take the 2022 model. And typically I'll risk like 1%. It just, well, it depends on the account size. It really just depends on the account size. It's not like a set thing. So I risk let's say I risk 1% for the 2022 model. I'll do 0.75% for the inverse because I don't know exactly where it's going to close. But we know how high of a win rate they have, so we know it's not going to happen too much. And we rarely get those big. A lot of you going into iFVGs, you're like, well, what if we get a big candle like this? That rarely happens to me. I'm not going to lie. It might happen to you a lot at first, but it's not like it's not like a thing that happens to you every single time. And once you understand that, you'll be less scared. So that's kind of how I do my risk. Okay. 0.5 from account size. Okay, now let's say I'm on a 50K count and I go to 40,000. Let's say I'm on a 50K count and I go to 48,500. Do I de-risk or add risk? Yeah, I de-risk. So I I'm just kidding. So if I go down, I de-risk. So let's say I go from 50,000 to 49,000. If I'm risking 1% at 50,000, I'll start risking, let's say, like I'll cut that in like maybe quarter, sometimes even half. I'll de-risk by like 0.5% or even 0.25%. Does that make sense? And then if I get to like 48,000, I'm like full de-risking. I'm at like 0.5, maybe even less than that, like let's say 0.4 or something. But now when you go up in profit, when you go to like, let's say 52,000, do you de-risk or add risk? This is a trick question. Some people say add risk, some people say... All right, wait. Now, let's say you're on an Apex account, you're up 52,000. Do you add risk or de-risk? Neither. Good. You no change. Let's say you're on an Apex account and you're at 55,000. Do you add risk or de-risk? Yeah, I would add because the trailing drawdown is now 5,000. You now have $5,000, not 2,500. So I'd add risk. Let's say you're at 52,500 on a topstep account. Do you add risk or de-risk? Let's say, wait. Okay, I would see this is like the most 50-50 answer. I'd say some people, it just depends. For me, I'd probably add risk. Some people might say de-risk, but Apex is the only one where it's trailing drawdown, so I wouldn't change anything. Unless you're up like 54,000 or more in Apex, do not add risk. Does that make sense, everyone? Okay. Okay, so that's kind of the first thing I wanted to go over. Now, as you guys know, I have my little break-even method, which a lot of people, some people hate it, some people love it. I'm not going to explain why I do it. You know why I do it, but some people ask me, like, they're like, how do you know when to hold a trade through break even or like just hold it in general? So this is actually a situation that happened on Friday, and I just want to talk about this a little bit. So I took this setup. I called it out. Who remembers when I called this out in chat? Remember I said I'm in 30-second? I think it was the 30-second. I go, I'm in 30-second. Let's see. I think I said the word let's see or something. So if you're in chat, you saw me call that out. Now, here's the typical stop. Okay. So here's a stop. And look what happened. This is probably not good to show on my, I'm going to show it on Q. Now, look what happened. Would this have been a break-even trade for you? Based off of how I teach. Okay, would have been a break-even trade. Okay. Now, I did not get stopped at break-even on this. Why do you think I didn't stop out of break-even? Yeah, because I had so much conviction. So I got in here at this close, obviously. All right. I got on the close. And at first, my target was here. And I just want to go through the thought process of what I think in this situation, because I think this is actually going to really help a lot of you. So I get in the trade. I'm just going to do like a little skit and act how I would. Okay. So I'm going to do a little skit. All right, guys, I'm in the trade here. I'm going to target this high right here. All right. I really think we're going to target at least this LRLR. It's an intermediate term high inside of an old fair value gap, and we kind of got a bunch of stops here, and it looks really juicy. Okay, I've seen this play out a lot. I kind of see low resistance liquidity here. I think we're at least going to hit this, if not this, this, and this. Okay, so I'm going to look for a buy here. So I'm going to get in a buy here. All right, and let's do the buy here as well, because I want to make my average here, because this is where I did it in live time. Now I'm in here. Okay, let's see what happens here. So I'm targeting up here. I have 2 contracts. So let's just play price a little bit. Stop the break even would be at this red line. Let's see what happens. Okay, we got really close there. I really think that, okay, we're delivering off of this. We're delivering off of this BPR, which I know is the strongest PD array in the market. All right. I really think we're going to run this right now. It looks really good. It's about to be the lunch macro. It's about to be 1250. I really think we're going to run it during this time. I'm actually going to hold off on stopping a break even here. I see we kind of just created these equal highs here. I still think we come back to them. I see these equal lows, so I think I'm not going to put myself to break even, because I feel like the market would be fine sweeping these and then going up. And again, I'm not, okay, like that reaction. Okay, I think I'm now going to put the stop to break even. And boom. That's literally exactly what I thought when I took this live trade Friday. Exactly what I thought. And I just kind of reenacted it for you guys. So I had so much conviction in this trade where, like, I saw these equal lows. I saw we were delivering from here. I saw this. I saw this momentum. I felt like it was fine to the market to come down and kind of take these lows out, because I was like, dude, there's no way we don't hit this high. We had so much LRLR, and it was the lunch macro. This is 1252. Okay, this is when the lunch macro starts. But the big thing for me is I'm going to create a little checklist at some point, but here's kind of my deal with the break-even things, okay? Conviction, and by conviction, there needs to be like 3 things telling you that pricing no here. No break-even. This is hard to explain. So this is going to be something that's really hard to explain. Gee, how am I going to explain this? I'm going to go back and show you guys what I mean. Okay. Okay, so I see this. Let's say I'm in the position. Let's say I'm in the buy. Okay. Let me go back to here. So I'm in the buy here. I'm in the buy here. So I'm in the buy. I'm not moving my stop to break even yet. Okay, this is completely fine. Okay, I like this reaction. Now I move my stop to break even. Does that make sense? This is like all screen time. Like, look at this wick. We swept this. We swept equal lows. There's no reason we should come back down after that. I mean, there was a reason here that maybe we're going to come back down, these equal lows. But like, okay, now there's not a reason to come back down. So now my stop goes to break even. Does that make sense to you guys? It's something that's unexplainable in some aspects. And the hard part is this is not going to be a repetitive situation. It's just common sense and knowing how to trade and having screen time. It's like, yeah, we shouldn't come back. It's like here, I mean, it's fine if we come back here because it's like, oh, the market did leave equal lows. I mean, that would be fine if we did come back. But once you see this reaction, it's like, no, we should not come back. 100% stop at break even. Does that make sense? And in this situation, I'm like, let's go back in live time. There's one more part of the skit I forgot to see. All right, you forgot to listen to. So, all right, ready? 3, 2, 1, action. All right, ready? Listen. All right, so I'm in this buy, guys. Why do I want to get in this buy? Okay, I guess not. Okay, there we go. I'm in this buy. We just put in a super nice OB here. So the candle this candle should be ran. This LRLR, 99% of the time you will see this next candle really shoot up because this low resistance liquidity. Okay, so I'm just gonna, it looks good. Oh, okay. Not really liking these candles. Typically we'll just shoot right up here. Yeah, I don't know. You know what, guys? I think I'm actually gonna only target here. I don't like this price action. It's just horrible. I mean, most environments we will speed here, especially during a macro. So I'm actually only targeting here. Okay, I'm scaling some there. I usually wouldn't scale a lot, but I'm scaling more than usual. I don't like this price action. We're not getting that really big pump with LRLRs we normally get. And I'm stopped to break even for the other contract. See how like I'm going the target here, but when you know characteristics of a trade, like when you know that, okay, this is lunch macro, we should accelerate here, and you don't see that, I will lessen my take profit because I know if my bias is truly right. Do you really think this is going to happen? No. And what happened later? We actually end up totally missing that high. Okay, so let's see what happens. We never even hit the high. We just dumped there. And I'm so glad that we did because it's like it proved my point of, okay, I don't think we're actually truly bearish if we're not getting these candles run through this LRR. You will not typically see candles like this bad, especially with this really nice liquidity here. And that's kind of why I kind of changed my price to target down on Friday and I was all out here instead of holding runner. So see how it kind of changes a little bit and how my conviction changes. And it's like, okay, I do have conviction to hit here, but it's like, okay, now it's just like, I don't really enjoy watching this. I think based off screen time and past experiences, I think the candle would have ran it already. Does that make sense where screen time comes in? Okay, just so that's kind of that's a really, really, really big thing for me. And have you ever seen ICT on Twitter? He tweets, this candle should accelerate here. And he's kind of got really good timing of that. Why do you think he knows all that? It's because he's watched it so much. And same thing with me. I can do the same thing as he can do because he's watched it price so much. So that's kind of that. So if I have decent conviction or I see like, okay, I have conviction, but we left equal lows, maybe I will hold one more, then I won't do a break even. Let's say there's no LRLR, no equal highs or equal lows, then I'll do a break even every time. I don't care. Okay. Most times I don't do the break even is when we have low resistance liquidity. Okay, so we have low resistance liquidity, or equal highs or equal lows. Why do you think I'm more likely to have more conviction with low resistance liquidity and equal highs and equal lows? Yeah, because I've seen them ran so much, and I have so much trust in them being ran that, like, that is the only time where, and the biggest thing that gives me, like, okay, I definitely have conviction. And it's just, it's a big, big thing for me. And if I don't see any LR or equal highs, equal lows, I will go to break even because I don't have that same conviction I do when I see equal highs, equal lows. So that's kind of what I base it off of. All right. I think so. I think these are the two big ones. I mean, I'm trying to learn more about myself and explain what I do because I do some of this instinctively. I'm trying to learn what I do, and I'm trying to think of, like, what I do in live time. So I think these are the two big ones. There's a couple other, like, small instances based off screen time where maybe I won't move to break even, but another time. Oh, I know another time. Another time is this. If we ever get like a unicorn / 2022 and I'm already in, so this is one time. If we ever get a unicorn or 2022 model, and let's say I already entered the inversion, so this could be an example right here. See this right here? Let's say I'm entering this inversion here. Okay, I just figured, I just learned something else too. There's another one. There's a fourth one I want to go over. So this is going to be the fourth one. I'll come back to this one in a second. Okay, right here. This would be a perfect example. I will not stop out of this. So I'll enter here. I'm not stopping out of this. We barely even run this. There's a 30-second BPR. There's a 1-minute fair value gap. See how it's like a whole new 2022 model, and I'm already in from the inversion? That is an instance where I will hold. But that's not going to be easy for some of you because you don't know these other models, and that's why it's so important to watch ICT. So this is actually one of the ways I will hold. Does that make sense? And I'll even, sometimes I will average down. Like if I executed this and I averaged down when I saw these. I'm like, dude, this is a lot of LRLR. Looks perfect. We're gonna probably run this, and I average down in here. So it's like I go into the trade. I'm like, okay, I'm in here. Right. This is I'll do some acting again. So I'm in here. I like it. Looks good. Momentum's good. We have a really, really obvious intermediate term high. I have a lot of conviction we're going to hit it. And this momentum is just unbeatable. You can't beat this momentum. It looks really good. So I'm going to get in there. So now I'm in. Okay. Now I see 30-second BPR. I really think this is going to hold. It's a really nice V-shaped recovery. The times we've actually gone through this is not a lot. So I think I'm not going to move my stop break even because in this situation, my entry is really close to the high, so it's probably going to be a break-even trade anyways, but I still have a conviction, so I'm actually going to I'm going to accept the risk, and I'll take the loss if it gives me it. So I'm just going to kind of play price. Again, I don't really mind here. I think we're still going to hold this because it's really like V-shapey. I have a lot of conviction. Okay, it looks like we're kind of entering highs. I'm not going to lie. I think I'm going to take one more average down if we get it. Let's see if we get down here. Okay, I'm going to actually try one more average down. I really like kind of how we're holding this. Before I wasn't so sure, but now I'm even more sure because of all this LRLR. So I'm actually going to take an average down, I think. I really like this liquidity. I'm getting a lot of conviction just from seeing this in live time. It gives me enough conviction to, okay, I'm going to average down here because I just feel comfortable enough because I've seen it so much. Okay, as long as this doesn't get closed below, I still like it. Okay, boom. I'm averaging up there. I know we're going to run it now. And this is, a lot of you are like, oh, it's just hindsight. This is exactly what I did to, I was on an eval account Friday. This is exactly what I did to pass it. Literally exactly that thought process was what was going through my head. So it kind of starts with, okay, this is like, all right, I mean, I'm in here. I'm not moving my stop to break even yet because I still have conviction and I know that my entry wasn't the greatest. So maybe I will enter this like half size if I see it's really close to the internal high because it's like, I know the chance of me getting stopped at break even here is pretty high. So maybe I will go half size or something. I did not go half size for this, but I kind of averaged in here. I was like, yeah, I mean, every low is being souped. I kind of watched the reaction. I think we're going to go up here. And we kept generating all this LRLR. I'm like, dude, there's no way we don't go up here. That's literally what's going through in my mind. There's no way we don't go up here. And it just happened to be a nice trade because of I was trading. I wasn't being mechanical here. I was literally trading. I was seeing the market was feeding me new data, and I was trading based off what I saw kind of here. So that's what I kind of liked about that. All right. Yep, exactly, Colibri. So I'm going to go back to what I had before. So conviction, like LRLR or equal highs, equal lows, I typically try not to go break even, which you can de-risk. If you're planning on not going on break even, de-risk. If you're in a normal position size or even more, then yeah, I guess you would go break even. But there's times where I really have a lot of confidence. So maybe you do de-risk for the start and just see how it goes. And then I typically will go to break even anytime there's no LRR or just no equal highs. And then if there's another model like this, for example, and I'm already kind of in, I won't do the break even thing, especially, and that comes along with conviction as well. Okay. So that's kind of my three kind of rules of when I go to break even, when I don't go to break even. If that makes sense. Okay, so the fourth one is interesting. Okay, let me just copy and paste this. The fourth one is how far do we move? Okay. There's times where I go into a trade and I expect not to go break even, but here's the thing. So in this trade here, this is a good trade because we had this V-shaped, really high momentum recovery. We swept sell side. Okay, so I really like this trade. And I kind of get in there, and my target's here. I'm like, yeah, dude, I just have so much conviction in this. I'm not moving myself to break even. But it's like, okay, we've moved so high at this point. We've moved, like, if I kind of draw out this range a little bit, I just kind of eye this. It's like from my entry to where we've moved according to where, see how I draw this fib? See, like from my entry to where the target is to how much we've moved. See how we've moved over 0.5 of what I was kind of expecting? Does everyone understand that? This is like a little way that you can measure it maybe. I typically just eye it, but does everyone understand how I draw this fib? Like from where I enter to kind of where my target is, and then the 0.5. So it's like if we go more than 50% of what I'm actually looking for, I mean, there's almost zero chance I don't move my stop to break even. Does that make sense? Like, no matter what, even if I do have conviction, I'm moving my stop to break even here. We've just moved so far. If it came back down at that point, I would be emotional. And I kind of know that about myself. Does that kind of make sense how I manage that break even stop there? Now, let's say we come up to here and then we go down. It's like, okay, we really didn't move far from my entry anyways. Maybe I will hold. But if it's like more than 50% of what I'm expecting, then yeah, I'll move my stop to break even. See how there's a lot of, how do you guys think I got these rules? Do you think I'm just making them up on the spot? Yeah, I got them all from experience, and not even experience, what I'm actually comfortable with. Okay, I like some of these are like I'm comfortable with these, and through trial and error, I mean, I just kind of do this. Okay. Yep, exactly. And this is no simplistic class. This is an advanced class. Okay. So I'm surprised there's as many people in here as there is, because it's like this is kind of an advanced class, and these are like the 4 instances on what I do to break even, and there are maybe a little more, but they barely ever happen. Okay. Sometimes here's something right here. This, I did the same thing here. I think I bought this. I bought there, and I never moved my stop. Why do you think I never moved my stop there? Yeah, just because before I got into the trade, I didn't see those equal highs. The equal highs formed after I got in the trade, but it's like, I don't know. It's like, okay, we have equal highs now. There's just no shot we don't hit them, and I won't move my stop there. So that's like another little situation sometimes. Yeah, Calibri. I mean, I don't want to go over there right now. So hopefully that kind of made sense to you. So talked about risk a little bit. Talked about like a little break even, like technical stuff. I mean, is there any other scenario I can think of where like I won't move my stop? There's a difference between this is gonna be hard to explain. This is all screen time, man. This is gonna be really advanced, and it doesn't happen a lot, but I would move my stop to break even on something like this. Only because I know if we got a candle like this and then this, I know that this next candle should be run. And if it doesn't, it's probably going to be a losing trade. So like something like that, I'll move my stop to break even. But then you're going to be like, well, why wouldn't you move it in this situation over here? Because there's a BPR holding us. Was there a BPR holding us here? No. So you kind of get the difference. It's like there's different things that are going to be holding us that will give you more conviction. How to trade a 150K kill zone? I would risk about 500 maybe on that account, 150K. I know. That's why I liked it. I mean, we were in the hourly fair value gap at that point. So I kind of liked it. But apparently it just didn't want to bounce. So that's why I liked it. And the reason why, you guys know why I failed, right? Yeah, we create equal lows right here. I totally missed these, so there's perfect equal lows here to the tick. I wish I would not have taken the setup if I saw these. That's why I always look like whenever I'm in the market and even on my live streams, I always look to the left on like let's say I'm bullish on the day. I always double check a few time frames just to make sure we didn't create equal lows of some random low down here. Like if we made equal lows with like this low, I would not long yet. And I'm always checking that every morning. Just like if I'm looking to get in a long position, I'm usually just checking that out. So you just have to be really locked in and focused. Exactly, Cass. He's looking for PD erase to hold in his favor. I'm actually looking for PD erase to break and then I get in. Does that see how I kind of trade a little differently? My logic is different. I look for PD erase to break and then I like to get in because I know when they break, I'm probably on the right side of the trade if I get in after that. So I think that's really it for this class. Again, it's a lot of technical stuff today. And again, it's all screen time. Like, how many times out of 10 do you think this is going to fail? Look at this. Just look at this. V-shape BPR. Like, I don't know, man. That just looks so good. It's just, see, like, there's times where I just won't move my stop. I'll maybe take I'll go half size here and then average down if I need to. It's just, it depends on the setup. And you guys know what good signature and price looks like, and you guys know what bad signature and price looks like. Okay, like there's going to be different days where we get a lot of good signature and price, and you're gonna usually if you're questioning, oh, is this a good signature and price? It's probably not. If I had to say something, if you're questioning it, it's probably not a good signature and price. Yeah, no problem, X. Yeah, I agree, Cass. So, does anyone have any other questions regarding this topic only? Yeah, OBs will give me a lot of conviction as well. The more OBs I see created and held, that gives me conviction for sure. Like seeing something like this formed, it's like, oh, let's go. Like this down, like that's something that's yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one. I like how you did that. Yeah, this can be relevant to Asia. Um, I mean, just know Asia kind of sucks sometimes, and it just moves really slow. But yeah. Uh, can you cover the top step balances? Top step has a 50K, 100K, 150K. I don't care how you pass the account. I full ported it. It's what, 2 times. That's how I passed. But when you're on if you've never gotten a payout before, literally just go for 1 mini a day. Do 10-point stop and 10-point take profit, or 11-point stop, 11-point take profit to be safe. Do that for 2 weeks straight. The only way you blow up the account is if you lose 5 setups in a row, which is unlikely to happen with iFVGs. That's what I did. And I try to wait for a pullback entry. I have a video on my YouTube saying how I passed a top step account with a 93% win rate. I literally just went for like 5 setups, all going for 11 points, and I got a payout. So, probably the 3-minute Matan or the 2. I would say 2. I like the 2 the best, but 1 is fine, 3 is fine. It just depends. It depends on where the singular 1 is. Right? If there's a singular fair value gap on this, well, this just really looks good. If there's a singular gap in the 3-minute that looks like this, well, then I'll use the 3-minute. No, Calibri. They do not have to be swing lows. Equal lows or equal lows. It doesn't have to be a swing low. Eagle, I don't have my headphones on. You can't come up and speak right now. And then I can't, guys, this is not a class on teaching how to do Apex and eval or whatever. I'll make videos on YouTube about that stuff. One of the videos this week is going to be how I passed my eval account on one trade. And I'm going to go over a little bit about that. Yeah, it could be profitable, but probably lower win rate unlocks. Like if you're fully mechanical, it's going to have a lower win rate. Yeah, Tony, I do worse in backtesting because the problem in backtesting is you can't see speed of the candles, and that's a big giveaway for me. I like to see like speed of the actual candle, and in backtesting you can't see that. And you're also not in flow in the market. You don't know when the news is. In live time, you know all that. So it's just like you're not in flow. Boss, if you had a bad week last week, then I'd risk 100 per trade. See if you can build your confidence back up. A BPR is a balanced price range. It's when we kind of get this bearish and bullish gap kind of lining up here. So yes, I will be live tomorrow. I'll be live all day this week, or all week, and the week after I will be in Florida. So Leopard's going to stream Monday, Tuesday, and I have no idea about the other days yet. Literally no idea. So we'll see. Yeah, you can take them risk. I would trade micros on the $50,000 Apex. Yes. Can I show, dude? Meta Prince, you're really OG, aren't you? Where have you been, bro? I haven't seen you. A unicorn setup would be something like, bro, I don't even know. Okay, technically maybe this, I guess. I mean, it's not a unicorn because there's no fair value gap. It's gonna take me. I don't know where to find one. Has anyone got a unicorn set up? Can someone just send a chart? I don't want to go look for a unicorn setup. Yeah, if someone wants to send a chart with a unicorn setup, that'd be great. Yeah, if you trade mechanically, you're going to get stopped a lot more at break even. That's the big problem. And yes, I only trade micros when I get funded. If I'm not expecting a reversal, but we just get a monster candle out of nowhere risk, I will change my mind. Like, let's say I'm not expecting a reversal, but then just out of nowhere a monster candle comes and we just violate something. Well, then I will maybe change my mind. So, oh, right here. Would this technically be one? Fair value. I mean, I guess. So, see, I don't like these as order blocks. I mean, I guess because there's a doji here, but I feel like it'd be this total thing. My time when I trade is silver. What do you mean by that? John, you can do that, but yeah, that's fine, John. It's not gonna mess you up that bad. Once in a while, it will. If you do analysis in MNQ instead of NQ. So, all right. Yeah, I do not. I trade all day. Yeah, typically, I'll always have alerts in the market and kind of see what happens. So, yeah, I take a lot of silver bullet setups like 10 to 2 or sorry, 10 to 11. Just depends. So, wouldn't it take forever to get a payout if you trade micros? No, it depends on. No, not if you're targeting like higher time frame liquidity. If you're taking like all 1-to-1s, yeah. There's times where like I took a 12 to 1 hour trade because I knew there's equal highs up here. Like on like I will get big trades because of experience. Like along a fair value gap down here, instead of selling for like a 1-to-1, I'll hold one till like way up here, and it makes it. That's how I get. And that's why people trading mechanically, it's going to be harder for them to get payouts because they're not going to know how to trade. I know how to trade. I know to hold something till here, you know? So, does that make sense? Unless you can figure out to hold this long, it's not going to be easy for you to payouts. And I'm not even talking about your full position, maybe like a quarter. But these runners like that go for like 5 to 10 RR will add up. So knowing the higher time frame draw is important, even if you're just trading mechanically. So that's it for this class. I will see you guys later. And yeah, let me know if you have any questions. This will be uploaded on YouTube. And yeah, peace.